I never thought I would be the center of a bet on soul binding. Chapter 30. I simply blinked at that warrior who gave me a grin. What I could not understand was why he landed here of all places. What had happened? Ares let out a low growl, which made that male smirk. To my agent extraordinaire, Mylin Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You should have invited us. For your soul binding ceremony. At least that way, Leo would have won the bet he made with Aqua. My frown deepened. Say what? Riga, who was in a purple fish, cuts curtained a white top, gaped at her companion. She already looked disheveled, and this look on her face was not helping. And it was definitely not helping when she had only one shoe on. Leo made a bet on me, Ares said, folding his arms. Hardly news. Gemini laughed. When we said we will never take consort after Ursa, Leo said you would be the first one to break it, and Aqua said it would be Virgo. I said it would be Rico, and I said it would be Leo. Ares said, we all bet on someone or the other. Seems like Leo won. Gemini shook his head. That guy's faith in you can move mountains. Ares snorted. He did not have faith in me. He merely wanted to piss me off. Whatever. Gemini said, you should at least introduce me to your lovely soul bound. Why, Ares began. Lie with throne. I intervened. If they wanted to bicker, they can do it all day. But not like this. The second warrior I met in my life smiled. I am Gemini. I represent Chandraso. I roam this earth as a warlock. A warlock. Riga shrieked. Like Harry Potter. Like Gandalf. Gemini looked genuinely offended. They are wizards. I am a warlock. And I am a witch. Riga exclaimed. Gemini nodded seriously. You are. No shit, Sherlock. She gave him a look of disbelief. No, you don't understand. Riga, Gemini said. You are a witch. That day when those creeps attacked our office, you literally used your powers to defend yourself. You managed to knock a few of them cold for hours. I had to remove them and wait for you to open your eyes. I was preparing a good excuse. An amazing tale where I was the hero. But you brushed the whole incident like you had passed out from stress and it was all a nightmare. You know how disappointed I was. If I had not seen this guy's eyes or known his name or felt his aura, I would never be able to say that this male before me was a star, much less a warrior. Riga blinked at him and then saw me. Is the one next to you as crack? Why is the one next to me? I could not help but laugh. I liked this girl. Nope. He can be normal if he wants to. To my agent extraordinaire, Mylin Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Giving him a sideways glance, he gave me a look of disbelief. Or crack why? And I am pretty sure he won't be crack why now. Come on inside. Either way. Riga shook her head. I can't imagine hearing two. Gemini protested. Lyra, you can't be partial towards your soul. Bound. I folded my arms and rose my eyebrows. I can't. He shook his head. You can't. Riga walked past that star and stood next to me. Don't engage in a conversation with him. Time will just pass so fast just by bickering with him. Gemini tried to defend, but Riga went on. I have wasted more than a month just by bickering with him, that is much. Don't waste your breath. I stared into her eyes deeply. When I felt her soul resonate with me, it had the same vibrations my soul had with a few modifications. I took in a deep breath, and that was when I felt my eyes widen. Standing before me was not an ordinary witch, if what Gemini claimed to be true. Before me was a pulsar soul. Not just any pulsar soul. She was like me. A first-generation pulsar who was there with me in the Origins. She was one of the 14 who traveled to Origins. I have heard her in one of my memories. Well, I remembered her. Did she remember me? Or were her memories taken from her too? And her words did not sound like she cared for my time. No, this girl was jealous and she was trying to mark her territory, without her knowledge. Why was she jealous? To my agent extraordinaire, Mylin Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm, I would never be a competitor for her. Gemini knew more than not to pursue me of all people. Soul, bounds were a sacred thing in the universe. But she did not know that. It was so sad to know that she had not realized her feelings for him. So sad indeed. What more? I could see the beginning of a bond between them. A bond that went deeper than cosmos and chaos. Lyra, Ares called. She's a pulsar. Like me, Ares tried his best to stifle his laugh. Who knew that of all the 11 pulsars, one would directly land in Gemini's office? The possibilities are very low indeed. To my agent extraordinaire, Mylan Milburn, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I smiled at the female before me, at my sister. In a way, time is precious indeed. I won't waste it. A tiny surge of relief spread through her eyes. Before she masked it. Wise decision. I really did want to laugh at her, tease her, but she had to figure things on her own. Like me, she had a path and she had to find out who she was on her own. I could only stand by and watch, and if needed, give her my assistance. I moved and let her inside the house. Gemini almost immediately followed her. Ares and I shared a look, and smirk mirrored on each other's face. We could only see if Gemini would invite us to his soul binding ceremony. Who are they? Hayes asked when I turned after the two entered the house. He's Gemini, Ares said, lightly punching that star's back. And that is, she is Auriga, Gemini said, moving away from Ares. As Ryga's eyes scanned the people in front, Gemini smiled at her, standing behind her. She's my assistant. Gemini, my good friend. Miguel cried as he came up. Finally found your way. The shock was painted over the star's face as he saw Ares and spluttered. I isn't he. Was he in dungeon? Miguel scowled. You meet a friend after so long and this is the first question you ask. Gemini stared as though Miguel was a ghost. You are real, buddy. I am a fucking doll that can mimic Miguel perfectly. Miguel snapped. Aspen stood from her seat and placed a hand over his shoulder. Gemini wordlessly motioned his hands between the two. Then he began. She isn't Kenna. What? Ares coughed lightly. Yes, that is Miguel. The same Phoenix's shifter we know. He is the Delta of the pack under Lyra. Fucking hell. Gemini swore as he looked at me. You're Ian Alpha. Can't you tell that? Miguel asks ironically. No, he protested. She felt like a celestial being to me. Like she's a star. She is soul, bound to Ares for Cosmos' sake. You think she will still be a creature of this planet? Gemini, Ares called. He cleared his throat. She is not a celestial being because we are soul, bounds. She is a celestial being in her own right. She is a star, Kane asked, her eyebrows shooting up. Ares shook his head. Gemini gaped at Ares and then at me. No, she's a pulsar, Ares said. And everything, even the stilled silence, went up in flames. Screams and shouts flew. Ares and Gemini were talking fast with each other. Hayes, Kane, Aspen and Miguel were coming up with their own theories. And Riga was the silent one, looking at us with confusion. I sighed as I massaged my forehead. This was giving me a very huge headache. Corvus came to me. What was that? Lyra. I stared into his eyes, which resembled his cousin so much. Yet Corvus' eyes were just a shade darker than Hazel-less. And just like that, I was pulled by his eyes. Not because I found him attractive, but because my soul echoed the same melody his soul did. I gasped. While there was at least 10% difference in the vibration between mine and Ryga's soul, there was hardly a 5% difference between mine and Corvus. Was this the reason why we both clicked so well together? This male before me was another pulsar. Was he strong because he was a pulsar, or was he strong because he was born to a ZAYN and an alpha? I could not tell, but he had been in my memories as well. He was one of the pulsar who showed immense interest in research and helped me back in Origins. Just he had on Earth. Seemed like there were things one simply could not forget even if their memories were taken from them. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I said to Aries. He is a pulsar too. Right. I nodded. How did you know? I knew you. Aries said. After Lula took the seal from you, I can feel you. Hence, through you, I can feel who are the other pulsars. Had we not mated, I would be able to say who are pulsars. And since we are soul-bound, we can tell if there is a soul, bound between two or if it is mate bond or if they are just together. Corvus was watching me for an answer, but I could not reveal who he was to him. He had to find it on his own, but I could tell him what a pulsar was. I shouted over the ruckus. Just like that, the commotion stopped. I shook my head. What was wrong with these people? Just because my race was revealed, I was not any different. I was still the alpha of my pack until I gave it to someone. Hayes, Kane, Miguel. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Corvus. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Gemini. And Riga. Follow me and Aries to the conference room. We will try our best to say it to you. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You can judge. As if my voice held power over them, they stopped. The air crackled with tension as I glared at the few people who tried to defy my command. As much as this was very Annette's house, I was still his alpha and as his alpha. This was my house and these people dared to defy me in my own house. I did not know how I looked at that moment, but the male I was glaring at suddenly dropped to his knees, bowing his head to me. The only noise that interrupted me was the faint beep of the digital clock and the whir of a small engine that sent oxygen to the fish tank. By Amaris, Jed softly swore as he got up in my peripheral vision. I turned my head to see him, and that was when I caught my reflection on the mirror on the wall. My eyes were not brown. It was gold. Freaking gold. I blinked and the color did not fade. It glowed brighter. Before I could allow the panic to envelop me, I strode to the conference room and braced myself over desk. Warm hands touched my shoulder. You are a pulsar. It happens. I turned and hugged him. Happens. Yes, he said. Why do you think my eyes are silver? I am a star and it shows. I laughed lightly. Then I felt various people enter the room. Just as Aries let me go, our Hayes caught me in a hug. My baby sister. Still your baby sister. Hugging her back. You'll always be. No matter what you are. Where you go, our Hayes throne will always be your elder sister. That's reassuring. I whispered. She let me go. After the last person entered, Aspen closed the door. What happened? I glanced at Aries, who gave me a nod. Here goes nothing. His tribe threw me in the maze. I began. I think you all know that. Riga rose her hand up. I don't. When she saw all of us looking at her, she shrugged. I don't know what I'm doing here, or why you called me in this meeting of yours. I simply could not explain the feeling of why I wanted Riga to be here. She was fairly new to this world. Just came to know the fact that she was a witch, which I was sure she really did not believe. I have a feeling that you need to be here. Riga. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. If you have any questions, please ask either Gemini or me. She glanced at her companion. This dude. Before Gemini could answer, Miguel intervened. This dude is way more powerful than he's showing you. Little witch. He could destroy this earth in a blink of an eye and walk away as though he had his favorite meal. These two are stars. Literal stars. And even among the stars, they are kind of royalty. Remember that. She blinked. This guy is that powerful. Gemini glared at Miguel. Don't hear his words, that volatile. Rita asked. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Gemini protested. He is spewing lies. Miguel asked dryly. And I? Gemini pouted. No, see, Miguel said, looking at the new girl. He is dangerous. Riga pinched him hard on his arm. I thought you are a warlock. Now you are a star. What? Next. You will be Casper the Ghost. Gemini winced and rubbed his arm. I shall explain it to you once we get going. She stared at him for a while before giving in. You better. Get going where? Ares asked. Gemini sighed. The reason why we are here is because I found that Riga here is none other than the daughter of the Zayn of Summer tribe. Somehow she ended up out of Laucris. I am trying to take her back to see what had happened. Especially when 50 rogue mag the Essen vampires stormed my building for this girl. What? Kane shrieked. I know. Gemini said. My building was ruined by the time they left. I mean, had I been there, it would be a different story. But Riga single-handedly defended my building, so we all blinked at him. So I took a flight and tried to come to Summer Tribe. But no one answered my call, Gemini said. Hence I tried to locate the nearest warrior, and guess who popped in my radar? Ares sighed. I did. Gemini nodded enthusiastically. Kane stood up and inched towards Riga. Surprisingly, she allowed the older witch to examine her. Kane touched Triga's face before dropping her hand. She is the daughter of Summer Tribe's Ewayan. Kane asked. Gemini nodded. That's what that warlock I managed to capture told me. Which Zayn? Kane asked. Gemini shook his head. I don't know. Arhaze inched closer to her mate and took her hand. Is she Priscilla's daughter? Kane sniffed and shook her head. No, I would have sensed that. Gemini frowned. Who are you? Kane smiled thinly. My daughter is to succeed as the next Zayn of Summer Tribe because of the lack of an heir. Gemini seemed to be taken aback. You are from, I was mated into that tribe. Kane said. Gemini looked at her and then at my sister, who was still holding on to her mate, but I have a long past. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Noben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Kane said. The one whom I took as my mate left me for another. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Noben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I met my mate, Arhaze, and we are together. A problem. Gemini shook his head but then glanced at Ares. You better start giving us an explanation. I cleared my throat and said, while I was in the maze, I met Luna. The second I was finished, I expected the person to burst into an outcry to be Gemini. But alas, he disappointed me by staring at my soul, bound, as though he could not believe anything. I had just finished telling him that Luna was alive and where she was. He was still in shock. The one to burst into a cry was none other than my sister. Arhaze gasped after her cries subsided. Kane held her mate in her arms. See, Kane did all that? Arhaze asked, her voice breaking. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Noben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I nodded, unable to find words that would console my strong beta. My strong beta was breaking apart in her mate's arms because she could not accept the reality that our brother did all that for me. For me to live. Ika's daughter. Zara asked, her face devoid of emotion but her brown eyes betrayed her by housing unshed tears. Liki Ravida's daughter. I nodded again, feeling the familiar burn in my eyes. Would I lose it again before them? Kane, Arhaze whispered, her body shaking lightly. He saw our dad die. He saw Aureliad I. He had to live separately from his mate and son. That male is a damned fool. Miguel asked in a low voice as though he was keeping it together to not cry. How could he be a fool? He could have asked for help. Arhaze cried. He could have at least told me. When we were young, we promised never to carry our burdens alone. That's why I became the Delta and he the Beta. Did he take me for a fool? No, Kane ushered in a soothing tone. His love for his family blinded him. He did not think that you would be a liability, but The one who killed Warren White and Leaky Revade was Rionach, Ares said. She caught Kane's scent. From what I infer, that's the reason why he distanced himself from his mate and son. That's the reason why he did not involve you in this. He just wanted to protect you. But he could have protected me by telling me the truth. He said, her voice rising. He had the hunter's mark to protect him. Ares said, what did you have? As the bitter truth settled in, Ahaze's body trembled further in her mate's embrace. Miguel's lips quivered. He came down. That night to see you. I could barely see Miguel through my tears. What? That night, when the force heat hit you because of that force bond. Miguel said, your brother came down to see how you were doing. I refused to see him and Dalio entered her meditative state. He stayed for a while, talking something to Catherine. I don't know what he spoke. I was so angry at him for throwing his sister down there. He left after a while. I wish I had listened to whatever he had come to say. Kane licked her lips. Well, Kane's not yet dead. You can listen to him all day if that's going to be your regret. I then glanced at the ones who were quiet. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilgan, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilgan, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Gemini and Aspen. When only Ahaze's whimpers were heard, Aspen gulped. You had a twin. I knew where this was going. Yes, Chris Vade. Aspen said. Could have been your brother's mate. I finished for her. I am sorry. Aspen gave me a look of bewilderment. Why are you apologizing? Did you kill your twin? By Amaris above. That girl was your twin. Someone who would have been your best friend. Your other half. You missed your twin. It is not fair that you have been denied a life when you could have lived your life with your parents. Your sister and you apologized to me for their death. Rionat should be the one apologizing. But I don't think she will live that far to apologize if we ever catch her. What? Zara said. Chris is Alpha Eric's mate. How can you be sure? My brother claimed Lyra to be his mate when he first saw her. Aspen said. Makes sense for her twin to be his mate. But now we can never tell. Zara said, a tear rolling down her cheeks. So this is the truth behind why my partner refused to contact me a few months before death. That idiot knew she would die. She even transferred her shares of the company to me days before she died. I should have known. Idiot indeed. I have been. Riga raised her hand. I am sorry that this news was heart-wrenching. But what has it got to do with me? I am terribly sorry. I don't get the word mate or maze or Luna. God forbid. I don't even know who Kane is. And I don't care that a race called Pulsars exist. I mean, if they are not a part of this universe, why care? Why am I listening to this? I wished I could tell her what race she belonged to. But then again, it was her journey. I don't know why. Riga. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I don't know why I wanted you to know this. My family issues to you of all people. Jed knows me. Brent knows me. But why you? I don't think I can answer that question when I don't even know the answer myself. Silence prevailed over us. Riga slunk back into her chair, subconsciously leaning towards the only person she knew in this room. Gemini cleared his throat, holding the girl's hand. Luna was held there all this while. In the maze. In a dimension in the maze. Ares corrected. That's important. Miguel asked. Gemini nodded yes. Maze. Dungeon. Chasm and spiraling labyrinth, all these sorts of prisons were created to hold the prisoners of all the world under its domain. Meaning, if one wanted to travel between worlds, it is very much possible to, if they know how to navigate through these prisons. Do you? Miguel asked. Gemini shared a look with Ares before replying. No, we do not. While we may be the first-generation stars, we can by no means beat Kamar. That male is stronger than us, given the fact that he writes fate. There are a few in history who spent their entire life decoding one of these prisons, but apparently, all Fate writers across the universe have joined hands. What the hell does that mean? Aspen asked. Meaning, Ares said. We tried to separate the universe into fragments to make sure there would be no battles. Consider each of these fragments as a country, and these countries will not look into each other's eyes. Over time, only a few remember about these other countries while many do not even know other countries exist. But the rulers of these countries have built a secret passage between the countries to make sure that the communication between them do not completely die. Rhaegar gasped. And here I thought stocks were a difficult thing to understand. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nelbel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Kane asked. There are people who know how to navigate. Gemini nodded. Yes, there are. Because so many worlds converge in those places. They have spaces between spaces. I bet Luna is trapped in one such space. Ares nodded. Well, Luna is a star who was born with the knowledge of navigating. What? Yes, Gemini said. While some learn how to navigate, some are born with the knowledge. How? Aspen asked, standing from her seat. Just how many such communications exist? Space is vast. Gemini said. There are so many. How many? Miguel asked. Ares sighed. Prisons. A few forests and all the 5 elements, huh? 5 elements are always connected. Ares said. The space is the most direct connection, but the other 4 are 2 good connections if you know how to use. Miguel shook his head. That's why there are 12 of you. 3 of you represent each element. Gemini nodded. You hit the jackpot. But to be honest, there were 15 of us. 3 who represented space fell. Miguel gulped. I need a drink. Me too. Kane muttered. What is the strongest we have in this house? He'll go check, Miguel said, as he stood up to leave. Immediately, Aspen walked out with him. It'll help. I saw the only one who remained in silence throughout this meeting. What is bothering you? Corvus blinked and chuckled. If Pixis was here, he would have a different definition of pulsars than you guys do. I shared a look with the 2 stars and we simply could not help but share a laugh. Chapter 31. The second we stepped out of that conference room, most of the people who were waiting for us stood up. No one said a word as I walked across the room. It was unnerving. That power. I had no idea what power could do. Now that I felt it coursing in my veins, I wanted nothing more than to revel in it. I wanted to soak myself in that power until I was lost. It was like an addiction that was more dangerous than any drug in the world. 2 familiar faces greeted me as I passed Breton and Jed. While it was a while since I saw one, I could nearly not recognize the one I saw just 6 days ago. Although his beard was trimmed and his hair was an artful mess, his eyes lacked life. I had seen this male with so much life when I had accepted him in my pack. So much vis avity when he proudly announced Nash was his son, and so much vigor when they became a family. Now he was hesitating to enter his own house. His shirt and pants clung to his body due to the wetness. His hair was literally dripping water. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nelbel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He rasped. He had come out. No, he had pulled himself out of his solitude because of my arrival. I would not know what I would do if I was in his place. I know I will never have the strength this male has. If my mate was to abandon me when my child had died, recruiting when my alpha arrived would not be my priority. Aislinn should understand. As much as she lost a son, Varian had lost his son too. She could not leave him now. But then again, what use would it serve if she was here when toxic words were exchanged between them? Would it not tarnish the bond more? I hugged this grieving male. I wish I could offer him more. But I could not. If all of this was over and we made it out unscathed, I would do much more to him. Varian, I whispered. He sniffed as though that would take his tears back into his eyes. He deserved much more. I knew it killed Ares to see me hug another male, but he understood that Varian needed that comfort now. and I was thankful for that. I released him and looked into his tired eyes. Good. He clenched his jaw. As good as I can be. Miguel stepped forwards. I will fill him with what had happened. Varian looked at me and then at his friend. As his gaze flickered between us, he licked his lips and he played with his fingers by his side. His throat bobbed and his breathing became heavy, though it was subtle. He's conflicted. Aries said, I get that. Is it because he wants to be in the loop, yet he does not want to leave his alpha? To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Aries said, I don't know how he is holding together. Go, Varian, I said firmly. I will be here. I don't plan to go anywhere, if you do plan to go somewhere. Aspen said, punching my shoulder. Take someone fun with you. Jed must have been a boring company. Jed opened his mouth to protest when a female with short, black, pixie hair quipped, She's a tron. Jed facts, when presented at worst timing, could be a bit hour. Jed mumbled something under his breath. Aspen grinned at the female. She is Y, my Delta's mate. And JEDS, no one asked. Jed said, shooting from his seat. X, Y finished, grilling at him. Ignore him, Elful Ira Hell. Hayes asked, putting her elbow on my shoulder, using me as though I was a stand. I meant, a yes smile was the reincarnation of a devil. The lip ring she had did not help, nor did the 3 rings she had near her left eyebrows. Not to mention the ink she had on her dark skin. Her skin was something many girls would be envious of. Despite the scars and ink interrupting, I could see how smooth it was. Why bit her lip? It was my fault. I thought I was into males. But when Shyla walked into my life, everything I thought was thrown into a storm. Your Delta is female. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. A warlock asked, his eyebrows meeting. Problem? Roy asked, folding her arms and giving him a glare. The warlock appeared to be taken aback now. No, I meant, a few months ago. It was Daniel. Aspen finished. I am aware, but he no longer wanted to be the Delta, so he resigned. Then facing me, he gave me a polite smile. Wayne, Elphalira, I am the Rish of my tribe. I nodded at him. Good to meet you. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Turning to her, will you fill in with what happened with your brother? Aspen nodded. I will try my best. At most, he will be heartbroken, but he will recover. With that, she spun around and headed towards the stairs that led to the basement. What could Alpha Eric be doing there? Playing billiards? I gazed at the male who held his mate's hands. The male who came in along with Varian. Miguel had pulled his friend out to explain him. Silas. Gemini's voice cut through. Nice to hear that you are doing well. Since when did you know how to come to allow Chris? Silas asked. Gemini pouted. Why is everyone being mean to me right now? You should show your face often for us to support you. Silas said. Gemini sighed. Does that mean if I leave now, you will hate me more? Silas closed his eyes and opened it. Leaving again. Gemini nodded. I have to. I have to leave for Summer Tribe. Silas frowned. Why? Putting an arm around the vampire, Gemini walked out, putting the unwilling male behind him. Seeing this, Aries followed them. Ryger's eyes flitted between her companion and she finally decided I would not kill her and stay behind. Kane scrutinized her. I must say, she does have Moria's eyes. Who is Moria? Hayes asked. Kane smiled sadly. She was Priscilla's mother. Hayes inhaled sharply. You still talk with Priscilla? Kane sighed. Her brother wronged me. She stood with me till the end. We are good friends. I turned to them. It's a good thing that your friendship was not broken because of him. As she shrugged, a female vampire came closer. I am Nadia. I belong to the coven under Omicron Rai. My sibling is the Fate of the coven. I frowned at her. Am I missing something? Ahaze gulped. Lyra, did you know that Mina had marked Nash when he was about to die? I nearly scoffed. Of course I do. Ahaze slouched her shoulders and looked down. Then you must know the pain she would have gone through when Nash died. I do. To save her. Ahaze paused for a second. Theta Silver marked her. I glanced at Nadia, who gave me a nod. My sibling did do that. He's A. Nadia corrected me. Gender was not a problem, he's A. Has not met ZIRS mate. Nadia shut her eyes closed and shook her head. They did not. What will they do when they meet ZIRS mate? Would that Theta Silver abandon Mina? Leave Mina? Nadia looked around. If they had marked Mina, would that not mean A would not meet ZIRS mate? Would that not mean they has chosen Mina as ZIRS mate? I exasperated. You think mate bond is that easy? It will be resolved like that. They fell silent. Of all the things, why did they decide to meddle with mate bonds? Did they not have better things to do? Rai coughed. It is not. No. You do not know what is happening out there. That's because you did not tell us. Nadia fired. I looked into her brown eyes as I stepped forward. For each step I took, she took a step back. I had seen this feeling in many people, and I never thought that one day I would elicit this feeling in someone. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. A dangerous emotion. It could either break someone or make them. I did not even know your name until now. I said forcefully as though I was teaching a kid. And you expect me to trust you just like that? You did. Nadia nearly spat. I had to give to this female for standing her ground. You took, she gestured at Riga. And not us. I glanced at Riga, who bit her lips and appeared nervous. But her body did not tell me any hint of fear. She was one of the two who did not give any scent of fear apart from Corvus. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. She came in with a warrior. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Who did you come with? Nadia gasped. Is this how you will treat us? Like we are beneath your feet? I gave her my cold grin. I said I did not trust you. If I was going to treat you as though you are beneath my feet, then I would have thrown you out of this house the second I saw you. How dare you? Nadia snarled. As her eyes glowed gold, she sneered. I control water. Don't forget. Blood is water too. Then go ahead. Control me. Even before she could use her powers over me, Ares' spirit blanketed over me, protecting me. It was like a koala, hugging me close. I had to coax the spirit to let go of me to check what I was capable of. As much as it was difficult to convince the spirit, it understood what I wanted to do. It begrudgingly loosened its hold over me, with a promise that if things were to get out of hand, it would not simply protect me, but bring Ares here. Her energy hit me, but I felt nothing. Nothing at all. I was waiting for her to control that red viscous fluid that was flowing in my blood vessels, but she was unable to do so. Nadia gasped as she withdrew her powers. It was then I noticed how much she was sweating. What? She whispered. She's a pulsar. Riga said, and when every owner's eyes fell on her. She shrugged. Whatever that is. Corvus smirked. If you know what stars are. Nadia, if you know how dangerous they can be, I would advise you to stay away from Lyra. She is not far away from them. Then his spirit and soul washed over me, hugging me as though he was next to me. I turned around just in time to see Ares. Gemini and Sidus walking. She's us, Gemini said. Like, a pulsar is opposite of a star. If any astrophysics geeks are here or if someone who simply loves to learn is here, I am sorry if our definition of pulsars varies. A pulsar may be a neutron star, but to us, a pulsar is a creation of chaos as a star is a creation of cosmos. In other words, she is equal to us in every way. One of the major difference, while we emit light, energy, she can suck in energy. Nadia's breath deepened and its pace increased. Impossible. Possible, Gemini said. In the world under Eris and Keeler, they have no stars. Only pulsars. It is a reflection of the earth. And just think, you just offended the soul, bound of Aries, the warrior under Amaris. We warriors do not listen to even Amaris. We listen to Kamar, surveying cosmos and no one else. We listen to the royal family only because the moon told us to listen. Her eager frowned. Gemini gave her a tight smile. Don't worry, I will tell you all about it when we leave. Aries came and stood next to me as he gave Nadia a blank look. You think your powers will be of any use when you are attacking her? Nadia stiffened. And no. To our agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Arhays narrowed her eyes at her. Look, you may be Aspen's friend, but you don't get to slander Lyra. Jed tilted his head to expose his neck, a sign of submission. I apologize on behalf of Nadia. Beta. She did not know who she was riding up. Kane rolled her eyes. Don't apologize on behalf of someone else, Jed. Aries' face was blank, but I could tell the anger in now. Just for trying to hurt me. He wanted her gone. I just hoped that this protectiveness would not turn into an obsession now. Aries said, and if no one was present, I knew he would be pouting. I am protective. It could be a bit more because you still did not come into power. When you do, trust me, I will allow you to do all this power work and I sit behind and bask in your light. I snorted. Trust me, Aries said. I won't hold you back. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I held his hand and gave it a squeeze. You think that this will calm me down? Aries asked. It wouldn't. I asked in my innocent voice. My Alpha, please. You and I know what will work. It was really hard to not laugh in front of these people. When this meeting is over and after I grab some food, I will hold on to it. Hold on to whatever you want until then. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He shook his head. I should have known how my life was going to be the second I saw you. What do you mean by that? Nothing. How about, we retire early today, and I shall tell you. Sounds good. If Aspen was here, Jed said, she would not allow her friend to talk like this. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. She would not. Nadia cried. Aspen is marked into Alpha L-Wire's pack. Her loyalty will be with that pack. Jed sighed. Nadia, do you realize that you are making it worse for yourself? Arya's lips curled as she commented. You sure have great control over yourself. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I have seen so many alphas who were riled up for the slightest slander against their mate. I must say, I admire your temper. The last time I checked, we and Ruri, Aries said, keeping his hands in his pocket. You don't have the right to call me by my name. If you have read your history lessons correctly, you will know how to address me. You don't belong to my pack to call me intimately. Yes, face flushed. I am sorry, pack. Another vampire asked. If my memory serves correct, you warriors cannot belong to any pack, coven or tribe. True, Aries said, with a secretive smile lingering on his face. But my mate happens to be the alpha of a pack, and as she has not yet found the right heir to pass on the title, she is still the alpha of the pack. And as her mate, I belong in her pack. Silence prevailed over us again, and this time, Aspen came up with her brother following her. When she saw how tense the situation was, She frowned. What happened? Aspen asked, raising her voice. Nothing, Nadia began. She somehow managed to offend Lyra. Jed said, while Brent face panned. Aspen glanced at O'Hays and my sister nodded her head. In the hack link, O'Hays replayed what had happened earlier. Nadia, Aspen said. What is wrong with you? Nadia asked. What's wrong with you? You act like, while they bicker. Can I take my leave? A voice that only my ears have heard echoed in my mind. Like Ares had a touch of untouchability in them. Like he was out of the world. You can link me to my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. We 12 warriors, Arkin, like a pack. You can say, we can link with one another. And now you are soul, bound to Ares. You are automatically a part of this family. Gemini. Ares warned. I shook my head. Travel safe. Stay connected. Ares said, with a slight nod of his head. He went near Riga and whispered something in her ears. With that, he went out. We Silasons are following him. Riga said her goodbyes to us and literally fled to catch up with her companion. I could see that the argument between Jed, to my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Nadia and surprisingly Brent was not over. This would take a while. After the meal set by a few witches, many left to either talk out on the beach or went to the basement to play an indoor sport that was there. I could not care any more about those people who had judged me without knowing me. Let them be wherever they want to be. Right now, being cuddled in Aries' arms with a blanket over us as he sat on the sofa. I was sitting on him. Was the best feeling out there. My sister had her head on her mate's lap where Aspen sat close by Miguel. But I could see a hair's breadth of the distance between them. Darian was sitting near Brent on the sofa next to us. Jed and Eric had a cup of coffee as they sat next to their ex-alpha. What is that you want to tell me? I asked my sister. Aries' arms tight and around me before he allowed his fingers to wander. Not that my fingers were any innocent. In Westpac, O'Hays began. Harper is creating an army. I know. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Not just any army. Lyra. O'Hays sighed as she shared a look with her mate. Kane nodded and O'Hays continued. Do you remember the project you were working on? I was working on transformations. O'Hays closed her eyes and opened them. Before that, with Aurelia, transformations was something you wanted to work with Corvus and Pixis. Before that, you were working with Aurelia about something. Mind control. I muttered, controlling someone's mind. O'Hays said, now combine it with the other project. Transformations. I would have exploded in fury if Ares was not holding me back. There are some things that we are not supposed to trample with. What would happen? Brent whispered. You get hybrids. O'Hays whispered. Who can? I am not sure of their race. Someone who Harper controls. They don't know how they are born, all they know is that they have to serve Harper. Not to mention, from what Reese managed to tell me, they are difficult to kill. Very difficult. And she has an army. By Amaris above. Aspen gasped. I did not know if it was an instinct. Miguel just placed his hand over hers and slightly bumped his shoulder against hers. Were they chosen mates or were they true mates? Who knew? From my finding, Kane said. I've been scrying. I found that many in Harper's army. Many are werewolves. I closed my eyes and tried to press myself against my soul. Bound. This is bad. Very bad. There was a resignation in her voice. As Aries' fingers began to trace patterns and massage my hips, a part of my tension vanished. If he kept this up, no matter what they spoke about the war, I would want another round with him. These allies are enough. Aspen asked. Should be. O'Hays said. I hope it does not get too much gory. I doubt it would be like that. With Silas supporting us, we can have hope. Kane said. Don't forget my tribes too. We won't. Ahei said. I opened my eyes to see them stare at each other uncomfortably. Is there anything more? Anything I should know? What about this? Brent asked. To my agent extraordinaire, Myron Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. To a point, take back the control Harper has over the mind, control project. But on that transformations, I cannot control genetics just like that. Brent sighed. We can't. Ares shifted a little. I will see what I can do. But I have to see at least one of them for me to tell what I can do. Can't you just burn the entire pack down? Aspen asked. Not necessarily burning, just eliminating the entire pack, even if it means killing the innocents. Ares asked. It does not work that way, even if I selectively killed. Almaris would notify Kamar and he will ground me. Ground you? Miguel asked in wonder. Yeah, Ares said. I don't know the reason why, but cancer flooded an entire tribe. South tribe. Because of that, she was grounded for 10 years. Is that long? Jed asked in fascination. We stars hate confinement, Ares said. Especially in a prison that does not have a connection to the universe. In other cases, 10 years is merely a blink of an eye, but when you are put in such confinement, we hate it. Imagine living 10 years in a hell customized for you. How did Adios? Miguel began. You were in the dungeon and designed by the moon, Ares said. The prison is grounded to the universe. That connection is enough. Silence fell over us. Brent and Jed were whispering about something, while Eric was staring at his coffee cup. I could not tell how he took the news of the death of his possible mate. If things had gone right, if Chris had been his mate, Eric would have been my brother-in-law. How funny fate was sometimes. About these prisons, Kane began. You told that some could navigate them. Right. Ares nodded. Yes, who are they? Kane asked. Ares sighed. There may be many others. But Coven was the best navigator. He was a pulsar belonging to another world. Like warriors this world has. He was a part of knights. No one knew what happened to him. But his comrades say he fell. Ahei asked. Ares trailed off. Is the word we use when we do not know what happened to them. It's been more than 2,000 years since we heard from him. I inhaled his scent. Same time around Luna's disappearance. Ares frowned and nodded. It's weird that none made the timeline connection, but if I am being correct, he disappeared about 20 years prior to Luna. I mean, Luna was the one who told me about his disappearance. In the long run, their instances do seem quite close. How good? Kane asked. Very good, Ares said, his voice light. I remember us navigating the universe through the chasms. He was so flawless. It was like he was born with it. Can it be passed down? Kane asked. Ares shrugged. It could be not. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. It is a rare but powerful trait. Why sudden curiosity? Kane played with Ahei's hair. Don't know. I just got this burning need to know more. Hope I was not prying too much information. Ares shook his head. No, you weren't. Silence measured over us again. But this time, it was more comfortable. As I melted into his arms, I yawned. Ares threw the blankets away from us and stood up, carrying me. We will leave for tonight. Should I even comment on it? Miguel asked with a dry smile. Do that, Ares challenged. And when it is your turn, you will have it worse. Unexpectedly, Aspen smirked. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Miguel scoffed. How could my life be worse? As an uncomfortable silence fell over us. So did Aspen smirk. You are marked. Miguel, Ares said. It is not long before both will crave each other and succumb to the half bond. We will see then, leaving them awkward. Aries carried me to our room. I laughed at that. Why this laugh? He asked softly. It was your room. To my agent extraordinaire, Myron Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Chuckling, then you gave it to me. And then it became ours. Aries laughed with me. That's right. I took in a deep breath. By the way, whenever you wanted to rest in this house, where did you rest? He kicked the door open and clocked it behind us after he dropped me on the bed. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He mumbled. He was in this room. He scratched his head. I blinked. Say what? You sent Lyra. He groaned as he came closer. It drove me crazy ever since I saw you. At what I gave you this room, I will admit, I was being selfish. When he came closer, I fell on the bed and he on me. Selfish, how? My voice was so soft, as though it was darkness itself that did not want to be disturbed. His lips skimmed over my skin. I wanted your scent to soak on my sheets. Fill my room so that each time I come to my room, for a while I could take it all in. That's not selfish. I argued. I wanted the same thing. A moan left my mouth when he kissed over the mark. His fingers, being quite crafty, began to work on my skin, drawing patterns in order to bring me to the edge of delirium. He then kissed me on my tingling lips, hard and fierce like the raging fire he represented. His kisses left me breathless, and this one was no special. When he broke off the kiss, I saw that my hands had a mind of their own, as they had removed his shirt and was moving towards his jeans. And his hands had already stripped me to my bra and had unbuttoned my jeans. Will we get through this? I whispered. He kissed me hard again, as if to remind me of what we were. As long as we are together. Lyra, he said in the same soft voice. Nothing will harm us and the ones we love. Nothing. I have already lost too many. If this is about Aislinn, she will return, won't she? She will, Aries said. While Varian lost his son, Aislinn lost someone who gave her hope to survive. She told us, remember, when isolation was getting the better of her, Nasha's existence was the only thing that grounded her from committing suicide. He was her hope, and now her hope had died. What would she do? Lyra. I just hope she comes back. Aries smiled. She will. She will. I echoed. With that, we decided to have the night we deserved and worry about the war the next break of dawn would bring to us. Chapter 31.1. Liv Fire bit her lips as her hands clutched the tablet tighter. Just for a second, she lifted her sight from the computer screen. On the glass walls, she caught a distraught image of herself. Putting the block over the pack bond she had with Lyra was tiring, and these late night works Harper was forcing her to do was further draining her energy. Just a week ago, when everything was perfect, her eyes held a shine and her face was glowing. The simple reason that for all this time her mate was away from her, and now they lived in one house as a family. As much as the situation was fucked up, she enjoyed those domestic time, even if they would not survive the upcoming battle. The memories of the past few days would suffice for her. But all that changed 5 days ago when Andrew tried to kidnap Lyra using Easttride's power. The second he did, Liv wanted to warn Lyra about the betrayal. But this wolf was Crafter. At least Andrew was obsessed with Nira to betray Lyra. What excuse did this wolf have? Liv would have. But that wolf was acting fast, and Liv had to block the bond Lyra with the members of this pack to make sure Ethan could not track Lyra ever again. A hand landed on her shoulder, and that was enough for her to get the energy she needed to survive. His face was next to hers in the image as he gave her a smile despite the situation forcing him to lose his rage. What is it, my love? Liv took in a deep breath. Nothing. Just waiting for the results. Kane's breath hit her neck. False results. Liv chuckled. Your faith in me is truly amazing. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. If you were going to report the true result, You would have done it days ago. You are waiting for a close call false result. Right. Liv jabbed his chest. Stop it. Anyone can hear you. Did you forget who I am? Liv, he asked. I checked. Liv sighed. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I remember. You are the brother in Lot to a Star. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Kane's face soured. I cannot believe that Lyra would choose that star. I cannot believe they even mated. Liv cleared her throat. I thought they soul bounded. They did. Kane muttered. And you told me soul binding was a bigger deal than mating. Liv said. Irritated, Kane was cute. Soka slumped on a chair next to her. Whose team are you on? There's a team. Liv almost laughed. Why was I not informed about this? Either you support me. Kane snarled lowly. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Liv shook her head and punched a few buttons on the keyboard, giving the commands to the computer. I support neither. I simply support Lyra. Betrayal. Kane cried. Betrayed by my own mate. How is this betrayal? Liv asked, giving her mate a pointed look. You are supposed to support me, Kane said, pouting. She could see where her son learnt that pout from. A while later, Kane took in a deep breath. Are you blocking the bond? Liv nodded. I have too. I never expected this wolf to betray Lyra as well. I just can't believe that this scum handed Harper the control over the computers in Westpac. Let me help, Kane muttered. Let me lend my energy. Liv shook her head. You need it. You are a hunter, Aluna. If anything happens, I want you to be in your full strength to flee. I am not leaving you. Neither am I willing to see you die before me. Liv Kane protested. You slough in this lab like a slave day in and out. Answer that Harper bitch with a smile on your face. Block the bond so that betrayer would not know what Lyra is doing. And take care of our son too. You need energy, Liv. Kane did try his best to take care of Raoul. But since she had been the one to grow him for all these years, the bond he and Kane had was tensed. Raoul, he had to understand and to expect that from a 5-year-old boy was too much. Hence, even if Raoul felt comfortable in Kane's presence, he would not sleep or eat until she said so. As much as Kane was disheartened by this, he knew this was the price he was paying to keep his family alive. Liv rolled her eyes. It's only for a while. Liv, he whispered hoarsely. I will lend tonight. No matter what. Liv rolled her eyes and gazed at the computer again. These endless nights were taking a toll on her. The letters danced in front of her and a screen prick led her eyes. Clenching her fists, she sat down and took deep breaths. These results were not as important as blocking the bond Lyra had with that wolf. Even if it killed her, she would make sure that the girl was safe. Kane got up and massaged her shoulder. She moaned in relief and sighed. Should you really torture yourself like this? Liv, he whispered. This project. Liv murmured. Someone from Summer Coven had begun. Due to some unknown reasons, this transformations project was put on hold. This happened 20 years ago. Lyra began it again after reading what it was about. You don't have any idea how dangerous this project is. Kane grinned. Why did that stupid girl even begin this? Curiosity. Liv answered. Transformations was grotesque. Summercove and did not try it on adults but on fetuses. They implanted some kind of cross, breed into the womb of a female and tried to see what that resulted in. Kane made a choking sound. What? Liv nodded. When she had first learnt about it, she felt sick. How could a scientist do that to anybody? What kind of hybrid? Kane asked, his voice disgusted. Not like us. Liv whispered. Not like a shifter too. Liv, she took in a deep breath. You know how we shifters came into place. Right. Kane nodded. Luna told me. Amaris designed us. She took the genes of a human and merged it with an animal that was compatible with that person. When merging was successful, she gave it a soul and a flesh to go with. When she had created enough of them, she allowed them to reproduce. Liv sighed. That's the key. Almaris gave them soul and flesh. She created flesh for them. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Summer Coven thought they were moon themselves and came pressed. And what? Livind tried to insert animal. Spurns by Luna. Liv Kane swore. Liv sighed yes. They literally had done terrible things. They first inserted vampire and magwisius genes into werewolves, and the vampires who could control minds made them shift too. That's bestiality. Kane cut her again. They could have at least just taken genes from the animals and merged it with the female's egg and allowed that fetus to grow in vitro. Liv closed her eyes and the report she had read ages ago flashed in her mind. Made those werewolves to go into a rut and made sure that those females who were raped were heavy with a child. The numerous results she had got during the day just ran before her as a small light flickered at the bottom of the screen. To use an animal to do that. Kane whispered. What were they thinking? Why would they do that? Have they lost their minds? Liv gulped. Summercove and did this 21 years ago to be exact. A few scientists from other packs decided to put a stop over this. Kane closed his eyes and clenched his fists. She knew what was going on in his mind. This was one of the worst projects that Summer Coven had done. Since it was one of the elite coven, no one could say anything. Not to mention that the Summer Coven had been getting help from someone from the royal family. Rumors were that it was the late Queen's parents. Lyra. Kane began after he got hold of his composure. Began it again. Liv shook her head no. She did not. She began with plants and slowly went towards animals. Not like she wanted to replicate shifters. She just wanted to introduce the animal genes into humans. Just certain genes. Like Exota LS can regrow parts of the brain after it is removed. Imagine if a human or any of the three races having that property. Brain lesions can be cured. That's what Araya told us. She did want to see what would happen if a human gene was mixed with an animal, and she did a few cells. When that cell did not die but showed the potential to multiply, she killed the cells and saw what genes were being expressed. Kane frowned. Is that possible? Liv took a deep breath. If Lyra had allowed those cells to grow to an individual in vitro, she would replace Amaris as the creator of shifters. Kane gasped as he plopped on a chair next to her. That's why. The curse of the shifters was related to her. Dots connected in her mind. That's why her shift will be the trigger of all the other shifters. And after her shift, all the babies born will be shifters. Who knows? Kane closed his eyes and took in a deep breath. I don't write the fate. Luna's soul. Bound is that. Liv nodded. I really do wonder if this is all proclaimed. Kane shook his head. I hope it is not. Can't imagine someone writing fate like what Summer Coven dideth. If I had known it earlier, I would have killed the entire coven and would not mind going to the dungeon for eternity. Liv held his hand. I bet even Luna's soul, bound, is not that cruel. Kane opened his eyes, and there had never been a more beautiful shade than that green color he had. I hope so. The red light that was beeping got wilder. That Liv was forced to open the screen that shielded the female subject who was strapped on the bed in the other room. She was shaking violently as her veins became visible under her pale skin. Her hair was disheveled and her eyes did not have enough tears to cry her pain out. Yet her screams were the only sound that room heard. Nearer, Kane whispered as he got up and stood next to her. The glass that separated them would not allow Nearer to see them, but they could very well see her. Liv nodded. Nearer. What the fuck? What is? Liv glanced at her huge, swollen belly. Her abdomen seemed to rupture at any time. Pregnancy for werewolves was a blessing. Twins were even rare. Carrying triplet, one might say, with a guarantee that the mother would die. But here was Nearer, strapped to the bed, forced to carry for fetuses at once. What Harper was thinking, Liv would never know. Seeing the rapid progression of growth of the babies, Liv could say that they did not belong to a race she knew. Werewolves carried their young for a maximum of 6 months, but Nira was implanted with these embryos just 2 weeks ago, and they showed the development of a 6-month baby. Harper had decided to trust Liv with this just this morning. Kane's eyes darted to the monitor that was next to Nira. Will she survive? Killing her after the birth of these creatures will be a mercy, Liv said, her eyes fixed on the dying female. Will she be? Kane asked. Liv shook her head. Harper wants her alive after this. She wants Nira to be alive too. Take care like a mother would. Feeding them. Liv could only nod. There were too many ugly things in the world. Never did she think she would see it all. In form of Harper. That's a parasite. Kane protested. Liv nodded. I don't even know what Harper is doing with Nira. Kane looked away. I thought Nira was her beta. So did I. Liv said softly, unable to take the thrashing female's cries of plea. But it turns out, Nira tried to convince Harper to let go of Lyra. Kane's breath was sharp. Why so? Andrew did not call upon the East tribe to kidnap Lyra because Nira was in danger, and Ethan forced him to do it. Liv said, tears slipping past her defenses. It is because Ethan promised him that once he was done with Lyra, he would hand her over to Andrew, and Nira wanted to stop it. Since Nira stood against Andrew, he gave control of their mate bond to Harper to do as she pleased. She used that control to pin down Nira to make her in this condition. Kane's face was pale. I want to vomit. Liv brushed her tears away, and this just made way for the fresh ones to come. It's so messed up. Kane gulped. What happens with her? Liv inched closer towards her mate. I cannot terminate the pregnancy. It would further complicate, and she will die a more painful death. Kane pulled her into his embrace. What are they? Liv closed her eyes. I wish I knew. How is she even alive? She's having 4. Liv managed a nod. I don't know how Harper is sustaining Nira's life. As she sniffled, a familiar set of footsteps echoed through the doorway, but behind that set of footsteps came 2 other sounds. One was a set of heavy footsteps, and other was as if that person was being dragged. Immediately, Liv shut down the computer and closed the screen, and just a few seconds before they entered, Kane managed to kiss her hard. The door would open and Harper would find her bait a pair kissing, just as they expected. Harper opened the door and she groaned. Enough. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Liv and Kane broke off, but only after they were sure that their resentment was locked, at least for a few hours. Behind Harper stood a vampire smirking. His black hair and his red iris did him no justice. Had she not been mated to Kane, she would have become his mistress without a second thought. He was handsome. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. That sharp jawline and those high cheekbones. How Kane was even more handsome than this vampire. But still, if this vampire could make her have second thoughts, his power must be seduction. Next to him on the ground was a female crouched. Her hands and her legs were bound by heavy chains, and Harper gave her a fleeting glance. Dubhe, Harper commanded. On your feet. Dubhe raised her head, her silver hair obstructing her face. Yet Liv could see a fire in this female's silver eyes. When this female did not comply, the male next to her glanced down. Dubhe, darling, get up for us. Her legs tried to raise her up, but she was forcing herself down, using the advantage of gravity. She did not resist when the chains tugged her down. Dubhe, the vampire called her softly. Get up. Never. She spat. Tut tut. Going to disobey me. Dubhe's lips pulled into a snarl. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Liv held on to her mate tightly. Something said her that this female was not a part of this world. Was it her silver hair or her silver eyes? Or was it simply the girl? The vampire raised his hands and walloped her across her cheeks. As the female fell on the floor, Eve could only watch. Kane stopped her as if he knew she would throw herself between the vampire and Dubhe. Dubhe, the vampire warned. The female had guts to laugh at the vampire. If my sisters or my brother got to know what happened to me, trust me, you won't live to see another day. Harper rolled her eyes. Why aren't they here? To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Then the female alpha of Westpac looked at her beta pair. She is Dubhe. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. She is the daughter of a first-generation star. I have managed to extract the DNA of her and that makes the genetic makeup of the fetuses Nira is carrying. Liv's eyes widened. Was this alpha crazy? What part of werewolf pregnancies being difficult did she not understand? Carrying the same species was difficult. Carrying a hybrid was even more so. But carrying a race that was not a part of this world. How Nira lived she would not understand. No matter what strength this Harper gave Nira, that female was living purely on her strength. Liv's sight wavered to that black screen for a moment. You managed. The vampire asked. Harper smirked. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. And since then I have been using Darbachia's energy and life force to keep that damned female alive. The vampire glanced at the star. That's why you want me to force a force bond on her. You want to keep her grounded to Earth. At least until this project is over. Kane cleared his throat. How did you manage to ground a star? The vampire smiled and there was nothing warm in that stretch of his lips. I have enough star blood in me to ground her. Harper sighed. His father's side. An ancestor is a star. It enhances power of seduction. When I caught Dub, he here. I brought her to Devon and he was able to influence her. A star is usually bound by their own power. When I found her power, it was easy to control her. Liv found her voice. What kind of bond? Harper said. A kind of mate bond. We try to mimic what Luna gives us. It's unfair that she has so much power over everything. Before Kane could roar in anger, she pinched his waist and asked Harper, so, in a weird, twisted way, the children Nira is carrying are the Beatrice kids. Harper nodded. Seeing that a star rarely, very rarely gives birth. I could not do it directly to a star. Not to mention, the chances were high with Dubhe. Her mother had 4 children and among stars. That's something one might talk about. So, Dubhe she got her mother's genes. She's one of the most fertile stars. That's how Nira is surviving. Kane asked. Dubhe is giving her energy. Harker nodded smugly. I am forcing her to. Devin glanced down at the star, still hoping for your family to come and rescue. Dubhe raised her head and grinned crazily at him. Who do you think I am? I am Dubhe, daughter of Ursa and Northern Star, sister to Alioth. My aren't mega easy. Trust me when I say my family will find me, and when they do, you better know how to run. Was Ursa not a part of the warriors? The star who died along with her soul bound. Liv shared a glance with her mate. Everything was about to go up in flames.